Oh, yeah, I'm little, but I'm loud. I'm making a lot of noise here this morning. How you doing? Whoop, whoop. I am ready to rock and roll here this morning. I hope you had a great, and I mean a great Valentine's Day weekend. Certainly people were eating out. There was a lot of that going on, wasn't there? Oh my goodness, that was quite a weekend for people eating out. At least you know what we put a lot of emphasis on: food. That's right. So, anyways, we had a great time Saturday morning right here on WCRS with our dedication line for songs that people wanted to dedicate. Yes, we did a throwback to the old days, folks, when people used to do things like that. Well, guess what? They still do. And we had a great time doing it. We gave away the ice cream cake from Dairy Queen and 2 blizzards. Jean Brock won our ice cream cake. Congratulations, Jean. Barbara Turnberg and Christy Wright both won blizzards. I happened to hear back from Barbara Turnberg. She said her cheesecake blizzard cheeseburger. Oh my God. Her cheesecake blizzard really hit the spot. So congratulations to all. And make sure you check out Dairy Queen. I did happen to see where they are having on the 19th, which is Thursday. They have a new blizzard. And on the 19th, they'll be giving away, you can get a, what is the deal? What is it? You can get a free, is it a free mint cone? Here we go. Try our new mint crunching cookie blizzard and get a free small mint dipped cone. That is on February 19th. Only at our local Dairy Queen right here in Greenwood. So it's National Chocolate Mint Day is what Dairy Queen has said. And so in honor of that, they're going to be previewing their new mint crunching cookie blizzard. Sounds like a Girl Scout blizzard, doesn't it? And get a free small mint dipped cone. All right, there you go. Check it out. That is coming up on Thursday. You know you're going to want to check that out. You know, there is nothing like a good blizzard. But you know the thing that I have always found about a blizzard? I mean, I like the real small ones, but I cannot eat the whole thing. Oh, come on. Well, I don't want to eat the whole thing in one sitting. How about that? So what I do is I eat part of it, bring it back, put it in the freezer, and then I get to have it a second time. And, you know, that works really well. FYI, if you haven't ever tried that, or if you want to get a big one and eat on it for several days, have several desserts, I guess you could do that. So I just thought I'd mention that, but we had a lot of fun with Dairy Queen. Thank you, Dairy Queen, for making Valentine's Day a little sweeter for everybody else. Now, there's a lot of stories going on out there, but I want to talk about a story that I have personal knowledge of, had a great time at, and that was A Night to Shine. What a beautiful night that was. That was Friday night, Valentine's Eve. And we all gathered over there at Legacy City Church. I was the MC. I got to announce each and every guest, honored guest, and these were all adults with some form of disabilities. Although you'd have to say, I don't know what they're talking about, because they were dressed to the nines. There were beautiful prom gowns. There were well-dressed guys there. They were ready for party, and they were honored, and they had a great time. So my job was to introduce each and every one. Maybe if they had a little something about them, I got a card from each one telling me a little bit about them. A lot of them I actually knew from doing the Burton Boombox Parade. A lot of them have been members at one time or another of the Burton Boombox Parade. And also the I Can Dance group through Greenwood Performing Arts. So it was great to see them. It was great to see them strutting their stuff down the aisle. Some of them danced down. Some of them waved as they went down the aisle. And on the gallery on either side, it was loaded with volunteers that were cheering them on. What was interesting about it was they had a choice how they would be introduced. Loud and bold, like Ann Eller likes to do it, or soft, based on the noise factor. For some of them bothered them, which I did quite well. I know you might not think that I could, but I did it quite well for them too. And they just loved this personal attention, and we had a good time doing it. All right, so that was the first step. When they went in the door, this was all outside. It started out at a little after 5, I think, and it was great while the sun was up. Got a little chilly when the sun went down, but I had worn my long underwear, so I was good. I had layers on. But anyways, when they went in the door, one of the first things they could do was get their hair done. The girls could get their hair done and have fairy hair added to it. Some of them had feathers and lights, and oh my God, it was just so much fun. Then they were given a boutonniere or a corsage, and then they got to choose what they did after that. Now, some did karaoke. Some did dancing. They had the dance floor all set up and a lot of dancing. They had all kinds of tables set up, just like a real prom. And then, of course, they had food, and more food. Let me tell you, the dancing was fun. And everybody, that was the most popular room. But the room that I enjoyed the most was the karaoke room. Not because I was singing karaoke, but because I could watch our guests sing karaoke. Now, one of the things that I thought was rather interesting was that, of course, they had the screen up there for them to be able to read what they were singing. Most of them, I'm not sure they could read, but they had memorized the words to their songs. And the one that I am going to, there were a lot of great songs, and they looked like they were able to accommodate most all of them, which is pretty cool. But the thing that I thought was so much fun, and I am curious, someday I'll have to talk to Stacy and or Pam and find out why Cody, their son's favorite karaoke song was All My Exes Live in Texas. And he knew all the words and had a nice deep voice and could belt it out there. So, Cody, I salute you. But I'm rather curious. Do all your exes live in Texas? But everybody was up there having a great time. And that's what it's all about. And they truly enjoyed their time there. I truly enjoyed being there. When they get to close to the end, they had a video come up with Tim Tebow and his wife, honoring them, telling them that they're special and that what a night this was. Quoted a little scripture in there, and it was really special. And at the end, they tell each and every one of them that they are kings and queens, and they get them tiaras and crowns for each and every one. And to see them all walking around with their crowns or tiaras on was quite a scene for sure. The party, I left about 8:30. That was after that. The party was going to go on till 9 o'clock. I did give it up at 8:30. But it was just a great night. And I think anybody that was there that night felt the same way. The only people that were there, caregivers or parents that were there, were they had a respite tent that was very, very nice. I happened to walk into the respite tent and had a cup they made. I saw coffee. I was like, you know how I am about my coffee. I was like, oh, coffee. They actually poured it, drip coffee, poured an individual cup of drip coffee, made it very special. That was wonderful. But they had a respite tent for family members, caregivers to be able to be in. And then there were the volunteers, the buddies, and other staff that were there to just assist in the evening. Overall, I can tell you it was a great, great success. I can also tell you that on Sunday we had 56 people that were supposed to be there. I'm not sure how many people we ended up with, but I know I announced more than 56 people. I'm going to say, just out of a guesstimation, maybe 65. It was the most fun to be standing there on the red carpet introducing each and every one. And it will be an experience I will remember for a long, long time. Then, of course, like I said, on Saturday, we topped it off with our dedication show and giving away the ice cream cake and blizzards. As I said, Jeannie Brock won the ice cream cake. Barbara Turnberg won a blizzard, as did Christy Wright. And Barbara wrote me back. She said that cheesecake blizzard sure hit the spot, Ann. So that was my weekend. I did go out to eat with some friends. Went to our place, had a delicious meal. We went in the middle of the afternoon, like around 2 o'clock. I will say, if one was going to eat out, I can't think of a much more perfect time to go, because when we left, the place was filling up and people were waiting, but we walked right in and got a seat. So that was a lot of fun. Just a great, great weekend. And I think sometimes it is the little things that we remember the longest because they are so special. And this is one of those things that is going to be so special for so, so long. All right, so now I guess we can talk about the other stuff out there. Hey, how about the weather? It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Did think that somebody just told me it was a wonderful Valentine's show that we did Saturday morning. Well, thank you very much. So, anyways, this let's see what else we have here. Yep. Okay. Anyways, what else do we have here? The weather. We were going to talk about the weather. Yes, let's see. What is the weather? The weather. It was awful rainy yesterday. The best thing to do was to stay inside and just stay warm and cozy. I did a lot of that. Anyways, right now it is 46 degrees out there. Feels like 43. Looks like we're going to have sunny skies. It is President's Day. We're going to get to a high near 65. A lot of people, of course, are off for President's Day. A lot of people took the opportunity to go out for a 3-day weekend. Some people maybe made it into 4, depending on where you work. So there you go. But today we're looking for a high of 65, sunny skies. Tonight, looks like it's going to be 35 degrees, not bad. Winds light and variable. Tuesday, Wednesday, 70 degrees. 70 degrees are going to be the high, with cloudy skies on Wednesday, and on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies. We will have a low of partly cloudy skies on Thursday and Wednesday of around 50 degrees. Not bad at all. So that's what we're looking at. Looks like we are blessed this week to get some warmer weather. However, don't think it's here to stay. Who knows what next week will be? Well, maybe we do. I don't Oh no. Let's see. What do we got? Thursday high of 74. Friday a high of 77. Does look like we might have some rain coming in. Saturday high of 66, low of 47. Rain continues. Sunday also it looks like the rain may continue too with a high of 59. And the following week will be in the mid 50s to low 70s, it looks like. But at least maybe we are out of the bitterly cold weather. Yes. Hallelujah. I don't know about you. I don't know what's happened to me. I grew up in cold weather, but I really don't like cold weather anymore. How about you? Oh, anyways. All right. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't know how much time or how many I'm going to get through. Do want to tell you about Meet Me at the Diner before we launch into some other topics. Meet Me at the Diner this week. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have two guests from Self Regional. Dr. Alexander Wang, who is a general surgeon and we're going to be talking about robotic technology. And then Dr. Ryan Bolt, we're going to be talking about, these two doctors are coming together. They're going to be talking about colon cancer awareness. So there you go. That should be interesting. On Wednesday afternoon at 5, we will have TJ Shadone with us. He, of course, is our police chief. And talking, of course, some about the increase in gun violence, particularly amongst our youth. So we'll be talking about that and adding to, I do think there was an article in the Index Journal, which I just picked up. I didn't know that at the time when I picked up the phone, and there was that article. So I'm sure we'll be expanding upon what the article in the Index Journal. So that should be interesting. And then on Thursday, we're going to uplift you with a little comedy. We're going to have Pam Stone on here. You may remember Pam Stone from Coach years ago. Well, she's a comedian. She actually writes a column in the Index Journal once a week. And she's a humorist. She lives on a farm right here in South Carolina. She raises horses and trains horses and teaches people about horses, so she has quite a full life. She'll be joining us with her particular take of fun on Thursday. So that completes this week, and we're already working on next week. I do believe we are going to have a Lunch and Learn interview with Sherry Biggs next week. So that I'll tell you more about that later. All right. So we've got the food drive going on. That is going on through the 25th, the 25th. There's more time, and everybody wants a piece of you. So if you're out shopping, pick up the heavy foods, heavy food. That's what they want, because and the city had better redeem itself this year. If it doesn't win, it better have more than over 2,000 pounds. Last year, the county was a knockout. So the city better be coming back strong this time and making a difference. Okay. So that's a few of the things that are going on, that are happening in our area. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the serious stuff out there. Number one in my serious stuff here this morning is, let's see, did I have it? Yes, right here. Is an article that actually was in the Daily Mail, and they are trying, of course, Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mom, is still missing. This is going into, it's been 2 weeks, so now they're going into the third week. They made an arrest. They picked some people up at a house about, 5 miles, I think, from her house. Come to find out, that tip was not credible. They picked them up, took them in, and then released them. There was a man with a SUV that they picked up, and then he was released. they said the amount of tips that are coming in on this case since they went public with that doorbell, that Nest doorbell video has just been overwhelming. Overwhelming. But so far, no leads. They do say they have the glove that, although I find this hard to believe, there's a glove that has DNA on it that is the same type of glove this guy was wearing on the doorbell. And they have sent that. The sheriff, I think, I don't understand the dynamics between the sheriff and the FBI. But anyways, the sheriff sent it to Florida to be analyzed. Supposedly there is DNA on it. They're analyzing it. Then they'll have to give it to the FBI, and the FBI will run it through their databases to see if this person is in the system. But because it is the same type of glove, they think it could be his glove. Well, I don't know. Then they go on and they say that these gloves are the ones that everybody's wearing. So that was doing forensic work, checking things, this type of thing. So who knows? I think to me, it looks like kind of a stretch. But that is probably the latest. Savannah Guthrie has put out another plea that said that it's never too late to do the right thing. I will say, Savannah Guthrie, this you can tell this is just wearing on her terribly. I did read an article that said that she is considering giving up her TV job, being on the morning show, that she feels responsible that this has happened to her mom. Now, I don't know, but that was one article that I read. So that devastating, and I don't think any of us can actually imagine how this would affect you. So, but I did find it interesting that the sheriff has said that it is unfair for talk show people to be saying that they think the son-in-law is involved in it. I don't think it's out there as far as a possibility, but he wanted to make sure that investigators are leaning away from any of Nancy's family members as suspects after online speculation stirred about Savannah's sister Annie and her brother-in-law Tommaso Ciani, who were last to see Nancy. So I thought that it was interesting that the sheriff said, now we're not pointing any fingers at anybody right now, and if anybody is, we'll be able to prove the case. The problem that they're saying with proving the case, regardless of who the suspect, if they ever solve this, is the fact that the house, the crime scene, was so polluted with other people going in and out that they think that a defense attorney for somebody would have a field day with the information. So this goes on. I know that they were actually running a helicopter over the area with Nancy's trying to ping, literally, or Nancy's mother's, Nancy Guthrie, the mother's pacemaker. And they were flying low and slow over the area. So I would think they could send a drone. Wouldn't you think they could send a drone? But I don't know. Anyways, that's some of the things that have been going on out there as far as that. The Olympics, we're not doing as well as we should, although we did win the hockey game against, what was it, Germany. So that was a good one. We won the gold medal. Did we get a gold medal? Anyways, we won against Germany, and they're going through all these different levels to get there. But I think it's kind of sad that the Olympics used to be something that everybody watched. And now when I ask people about the Olympics, very few people are involved in it. So from that standpoint, now for football fans that are just looking for something sports-like to watch, yes, they are watching the Olympics. So, all right, so that's a little bit about that. But we are third in the medal list, not chunking it away the way I would have thought that we would do. But then again, we've got the Summer Olympics coming. What was it in 28 over there to Los Angeles, which should be interesting. See who does and does not show up. Um, One Democratic representative, Alma Hernandez, who represents Tucson, said she is fed up with the presence of true crime sleuths who have taken over Tucson and the Prima area. I am sick of watching the reporting, grifting, insane speculation, lies, and BS by random wannabe journalists and YouTubers who have now caused more harm than good to this entire situation and put this serious case in jeopardy, Hernandez said in an ex post late Saturday evening. She then made a direct demand for those people to get out of the way and let officials do their job. Please go home, let law enforcement do their jobs. Stop following them during SWAT operation and playing detectives. I am sick of the constant lies from those who can't even spell Tucson and clearly have never been to our city. Well, there you go. There you go. That's the way things go. You know, somebody was talking the other day. I think it was one of our listeners here who was saying that the lack of civility is really, really something in our society. And I concur. Where is the civility? We see it all the time in Washington, D.C. We see it some in our legislature, but we also see it every day. Everybody seems to be on edge and takes everything to the next level, and nobody listens. Nobody listens. So, all right. What did I want to talk about? The SAFE Act. Here you go. There you go. Voter ID. Here's one of them. The SAFE Act, which just says you got to be able to prove you're an American citizen, like a driver's license before you vote. Do you have a problem with having to take your driver's license? We've been doing that for years here in South Carolina. Show your driver's license and then go ahead and vote. What is the problem with this? What is causing the angst? Well, you and I both know that our Democratic friends want to bring in more illegals to try to not run our elections properly as they should be run, only by you as citizens. And whether you are a naturalized citizen or whether you are a born in the USA citizen. I find it hard to believe that this is even an argument, but it is. It's the future. It did pass the House. It did pass the House up there in Washington, D.C., but it's the possibility of it passing in the Senate is very, very slim, which I think is horrific. Here are people. Now, we do have a very slim majority, but evidently I know we don't have enough majority to override the necessity of 60 votes. Who would think that voting and having only people that should vote should be a subject of consternation? But it certainly is. So President Trump, I believe, is going to sign an executive order making the SAFE Act that you have to have your driver's license. And I guess when you apply to get your voter ID card or you become a voter, that you must produce a document, i.e. a birth certificate, showing that you were born in the USA. What a country. I mean, you need a birth certificate to get a passport. You need some of these things to prove who you are. What is the problem? I do not understand. But evidently, it is a subject of consternation for those that do not want our voter rolls to be legal and appropriate. But the SAFE Act, voter ID, and so that they would be able to prove that those that are voting should be able to vote. A simple subject, but not one that all our legislators, and that's what I mean about everything is ramped up. Oh my God, we can't have anything that is just, of course, we all agree on it. You are listening to WCRS. You are watching me, Ann Eller, right here on WCRS Radio. And we will now continue for a few more minutes. I think we should hear a word from our sponsors that make all of this possible. So let's do that. We will be right back. And don't you go away. Take it away, and with a few words from our sponsors right here on WCRS.
This February, let your heart decide at the Greenwood YMCA. New members will get to pick a heart and discover their special YMCA perk. Will it be a free month or zero joiner's fee? Either way, your heart wins. From group fitness and family fun to healthier habits and stronger communities, the Y is where you belong. Visit the Greenwood YMCA or join online today. The Y, there's no place like this place.
The Greater Greenwood United Ministry Free Medical Clinic is here to offer you or someone you know a medical home. If you don't have health insurance and are not receiving Medicaid or Medicare benefits, please call 864-942-0500 and choose option 1 for more information. G-GUM Free Medical Clinic services include primary medical, internal medicine and gynecology, in-house pharmacy, women's health clinic, diabetic ed, laboratory, vision services, and disease prevention education. Again, call 864-942-0500 and choose option 1 for more information. Greater Greenwood United Ministry, offering a hand up to those in life and medical crisis for over 30 years.
At Greenwood Pathway House, we are a Christian ministry that helps people make changes in their life so that they can overcome homelessness permanently. Helping those who were living in Greenwood or Abbeville County at the time they became homeless, we provide residents with the support and training they need to build functional lives, obtain employment, and move into their own homes. Visit our website at gwdpathway.org or call us at 223-4460 to learn how you can make Greenwood and Abbeville stronger by helping people from our area overcome homelessness.
Happy birthday to George! George Washington, that is. Just 294 years. Yes, the Greenwood Museum is celebrating George Washington's birthday on February 21st from 11 to 2, and it's free and open to the public. Step back in history. Enjoy cake and Jefferson's tea. Listen to a special story time. Talk Revolutionary War battle plans. Write with a quill pen and more. Only at the Greenwood Museum, February 21st, 11 to 2. Brought to you by the Greenwood County SC 250 Coalition and the DAR. See you there. Happy birthday, George. Hello! Want to leave a voice message during a show? Have a news tip or event to report? Use the new WCRS tip line, 864-332-9355. Text or voice, I'll be sure to get it right here on WCRS. Again, 864-332-9355. Oh, that That's right. We're right back here at WCRS Radio. And yes, I am Ann Eller right here with you this morning. Good stuff going on. They've got a birthday party at the museum this Saturday celebrating 294 years of George Washington's birthday. That's right. They're going to have a good time. I was talking to Karen Petit last night. She, of course, is the author of a children's book about the American Revolution, which has gotten a lot of acclaim. She and the illustration artist were nominated at the Westminster Dog Show. They have a special awards section for writers of books about animals, I guess particularly dogs, I think. But anyway, she was nominated for that. She and Bonner for her nomination for her that. And then she was telling me that they just got a special award on their book from another group of writers organizations. So she's going to be set up at that on Saturday. I think the event is from 11 to 2. And I believe Louis with the Bichon will be there. He's the one that falls through history. And he is always entertaining in the books. In fact, she's working on a second book for that too. So that is going on Saturday. They're going to have birthday cake and Jefferson tea, and I think probably the diorama maybe is going to be set up about battles. Lots of good stuff going on, and some will actually be in costume too. So that'll be a great thing at the museum. That's this Saturday, 11 to 2. Also, FYI, you don't want to miss the Derby party coming up in May. Right now, they have a special where you can save $20 off your tickets if you get your tickets before the end of February. So contact the museum for more info, 864-229-7093. 864-229-7093. All right, so one of the other things I wanted to talk about here, and I was hoping we could have John McCravey on this morning, because the House has taken a vote on this income tax thing for South Carolina. And I'm going to just try to summarize it real quick here. But the bottom line to this is it does not do that much for us taxpayers. In fact, some taxpayers may actually end up paying more. And we're not talking about the high-end taxpayers, just FYI. Now, at Fitz News, they have an article about this, and they actually are not impressed. It says, and I'm just going to read you the title of the article. You can make up your own mind. South Carolina State House, another Republican bait and switch on taxes. Supermajority still playing a shell game. Whew, that's pretty rough, isn't it? It says last year, South Carolina's ruling Republican supermajority rolled out a much ballyhooed proposal to reduce the Palmetto State's punitively high top marginal income tax rate from 6.5% to 4.99. The problem, thanks to its various bait and switch provisions, this so-called tax cut was actually a tax hike on a whopping 59.4% of filers, while another, so almost 60%, it was a tax hike for, while another 21.2% of South Carolina taxpayers would have seen no change in their annual compulsory investment. It results challenged governance. Naturally, of course, Fitz News was very much upset about that. Blasted the GOP establishment for being Well, morons, it says. Now, this is all from Fitz News, and many of you know Fitz News is an opinionated but also a fact-based news. And I actually enjoy checking out Fitz News because they give you a lot of different parts of the puzzle, which in a lot of the different stories you don't find. So it says, with partisan primary elections looming, Republican leaders have gone back to the drawing board, putting forth an amended version of tax cut bill H 4216 that did little to address the core concerns of the original legislations. And anyways, what I found interesting about this, it says, instead of eliminating the income tax like other states, your legislatures want to play king of wealth redistribution, and lower income households are the ones to suffer. That's Palmetto State Watch founder Moore wrote. If lawmakers wanted to genuinely reduce the taxpayers' burden, they would eliminate the burden of taxation. It's that simple. There are countless ways state funding could and should be trimmed. That's true. Republican lawmakers have funded all manner of political pork, corporate welfare, subsidies, and unnecessary, inefficient, and duplicative bureaucracy. And they've done so for years. Meanwhile, again, I'm reading from Fitz News. Don't beat up on me. I'm just talking about what Fitz News wrote. Meanwhile, these faux conservatives have maintained the highest marginal income tax rate in the entire Southeast at a time when other states were aggressively cutting taxes. Does this amended version of the latest bait and switch bill actually cut taxes, though? Well, according to what Fitz News has found out, it says not. Oh, my nose itches today. According to a detailed fiscal statement released last month by the South Carolina Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office, the legislation would trim a meager $119.1 million in collections during the coming fiscal year, which runs from July 1st, 2026 through July 30th, 2027. Given lawmakers are projected to spend at least $40 billion during that same time period, we are talking about a tax cut amounting to less than 1/3 of 1% of the state's operating budget. So what do you have to say about that? A total of 34.6 of taxpayers, more than a third, would see no change in their liability, while more than a quarter, 26.7, would see a $269.6 million tax hike. That's 61.3% of South Carolina's taxpayers, nearly 2/3 of the Palmetto State's tax-paying population, which would see their obligation to the state either increase or remain unchanged. And that's supposed to be a tax cut, Fitz News asks. Astoundingly, and I find this astounding, 64 members of the South Carolina House of Representatives, establishment Republicans, and a handful of Democrats voted in favor of this tinkering around the edges. Then it says, thankfully, a handful of fiscally conservative GOP members joined Democrats in voting against it. Then they list out those that voted for and those that voted against it. Well, I'm not going to read the list, but here's what I found interesting. Those who voted in the negative. Now, this was basically a group of Democrats who voted against this supposed tax cut, which really, if you just have listened to what I've been talking about, you know that no, it is not a tax cut for the masses. If anything, It's an increase or status quo. All right, so then I started looking at the list of there's 64 who voted in the affirmative. That was to move it forward. Then there were those that voted against it. And as I said, excuse me, basically it was Democrats that voted against it because it's not a tax cut. And one of those that voted against it was John McCravey. And also who voted against it, hold on, let me find this. Was there anybody else here that I really wanted to mention? Alexander voted against it. He's the speaker. I think he's the Speaker of the House. He voted against it. So it's an interesting how this has come down to really conservative or Republicans that are not that conservative who all voted in favor of it. John McCravey voted against it. Alexander voted against it. And there's a whole list of others. There were, I think, 34 that voted against it. 64, or was it 64? Excuse me. 64 members voted, establishment Republicans and a handful of Democrats voted in favor of this tinkering around the edges. Thankful, a handful of fiscally conservative GOP members, mostly Democrat, in voting against it. But you know what? John McCravey stood up and voted against it. I was kind of surprised to see Daniel Gibson voted for it. Gilliam from over there, Doug Gilliam voted for it. Some of these I was surprised on. Let's see, where is Shane Massey on this list? Oh, he's a senator. Never mind, he isn't even in that. Yes, these are people that voted for it. Doug Gilliam, Daniel Gibson. I need to talk to Daniel about this and find out his logic on this. But those that voted against this, but basically they were voting against it because it's not good enough. I mean, I'm sure if you're doing a tax cut, should it not affect the majority? Yes, in a tax cut, not the small group. It should affect the majority. And John McCravey voted against it. Alexander voted against it. So most interesting. And now that, of course, it says only 38.7% of taxpayers would see a decline in their overall burden, totaling an estimated $388.7 million. The average decrease, $365, with most middle-income earners, those making between $50,000 and $150,000 annually, would see relief ranging from $200 to $363. Significant chunks of the middle-income earners would see their taxes increase, though including 38.4% of those earning between $100,000 and $150,000 annually. And they would pay more in taxes of $333. Meanwhile, 85% of the taxpayers in the $150,000 to $200,000 would pay an average of $472 more in taxes. So this, I just thought, the bottom line, like the original version, this legislation, the amended Republican tax bill, is a bait and switch, an attempt by GOP lawmakers to take credit for cutting taxes while doing the bare minimum to actually cut them. Senators should either reject this bill or amend it in such a way that 100% of tax filers receive substantive relief from South Carolina's oppressively high tax rates and oppose to a third of them getting a pittance back from the state. That, again, is from Fitz News. So I just found this article very most interesting at a time where we're supposed to be cutting taxes and figuring out ways to do this. They have a lot of other things that they're doing. Property tax relief is one. But this income tax, they are bound and determined. Everybody has said, oh, we got to cut the income tax. But is anybody actually making a true effort? And are we cutting what we're spending here in this state? $40 billion. Do you know, I can remember when I've been doing this too long. When our budget was what, $2.5 million, I think? I've been doing this too long. And now we've got $40 billion. Wow. All right. We've had a couple of things come in here this morning. Let's see what some people are saying. Yeah, we got people calling everywhere. You're right. You're making too much of a ruckus, Ann Eller. Let's see. Anything on this one? Nope. All right. Let's look at the other one here real quick. Okay, this person says, good to know, and good to know. That's right. We need to follow this and keep on top of this. Then we had another message from someone saying, why are you even bothering to talk about this, Ann? You know they're not going to do anything. Well, I think that's why I'm talking about it, because we need to get them to do something, to not try to walk around and thump on their chest and say, look what we did for you, when in reality, did they really do anything for us? That is the question. All right, then we had someone that responded when we were talking about the SAFE Act, and I wanted to share that with you. I think everyone should have to prove that they are a U.S. citizen with a driver's license or state-issue ID. However, I believe that this SAVE Act is going to hurt Republicans. So many red states have high poverty levels. Many of those people do not have identification and may not be able to have a way to get the identification. I wanted to address that one because back when this thing on voter ID came up, when Nikki Haley was governor of the state, they were actually doing free IDs at the driver's license. And then some people said, well, they wouldn't be able to get to the driver's to get a registered ID. They wouldn't be able to get to the driver's agency to get that. She actually had it set up that people, that they could call a number and they would make sure that they took them so they could get their ID. Now, I'm sure that's not going on anymore, but that is something that our state did to address those that said that this was unfair. She and the Republicans took away any objection to getting a state ID. What they found out was very, very, very few people took advantage of it. And I think they did it for a year or maybe 2 years. I don't remember. But they did it for a long period of time. It wasn't short. It was a long period of time. And finally, they did away with it because it wasn't being used. But they did have it so people could get transportation to get your driver's license, to get an ID. They actually took people there so that there was no excuse on getting your ID. So I think that it is a bogus issue. I think everybody should have to be able to say, yes, I am, no, I'm not. We have to show ID to do everything in our life today. Whether it's a simple thing from voting to renting, buying a place, opening a bank account, there is not anything that I can think that you don't have to show an ID to be able to do this. Verification is what life is about today. There may have been 50 years ago, well, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there may have been a time in this world where you could say, okay, I know who you are. I know you're a citizen. I knew your mama. You know, that is one of the things that everybody used to talk about. Living in Greenwood was so great. When we first came here to Greenwood, I cannot tell you how many people said, "Oh, it's so great. You know, you graduate from high school, you just go down to the bank, they sign you up with a car loan, they do this for you, they get you this, and you are ready to go." Well, not so much today, but I can remember about where everybody knew your name, and that was Greenwood. Well, unfortunately, life has changed for all of us. And whether you live in Greenwood, South Carolina, Columbia, Greenville, or some other state, you are going to be asked for an ID. It's just the way it is. And nobody should take offense. Well, maybe me. Yeah, maybe me. What? You need my ID? You don't know who I am? Oh, my Lord. But nobody should be offended about showing an ID, and nobody should be offended. The Democrats are making it like we're going to have to carry around our birth certificates, or this or that. No, you get an ID, your ID becomes your ID, just to be able to prove who you are. Shoot, even to get on a plane now, you either have to have a real ID or you have to have a passport, which verified you by what? Your birth certificate. So, there you go. Anyways, politics is going to be very messy this year, I have a feeling. Very, very messy. There's going to be a lot going on. You are going to have to tune right in here. I'm going to do a lot of the research to try to make sure that you know what's going on, because I consider it so important that we remain informed. We still have as far as what's going on in the State House this week, THC and hemp crackdown still is unresolved. Competing proposal, including the outright ban of THC-infused products, remains in limbo and have not reached the House floor. The disagreement shows a divide between law enforcement concerns and business interests. They have no final decision there. An education oversight bill. This is a new issue that has come up. Charter school accountability. Is not this something that all schools, if they're getting state money, should they not have oversight? I say yes, if they're really going to have oversight. And that is part of the problem. Now, I do believe that Ellen Weaver is coming to the Republican Ladies Luncheon today, and I plan to try to get a few minutes with Ellen Weaver and see what she has to say about this. Hopefully we'll bring you some news tomorrow. But this charter school accountability, the Senate approved legislation to increase oversight of charter school authorizers following scrutiny tied to audits and governance concerns. So this one has some controversy. It's not high on the controversy list, but it is one to be watching. Also, the Senate proposal would allow public colleges to keep athlete payment agreements confidential, moving quickly through the Senate. Transparency versus competitiveness debate is going to be emerging there. One of the things that we need to be aware of is the tax law disconnect affecting residents, because South Carolina stopped automatically adopting federal tax code changes. Taxpayers may now see a difference between federal and state filings. No new state legislation has yet aligned the two systems. The real-world impact for you today is that filing taxes this year could be a little complicated and may make it more difficult. You can't just say, used to be, you just did your federal and then that copied right over to your state. Not anymore. So that's that's what we've got for a roundup on some of the bills. Of course, today is President's Day, and that is a good thing. I hope that people will honor those that work so hard to give us the country that they thought we would so want. And remember what I think it's Ben Franklin said. Well, what did you come up with after they wrote the Constitution and everything? And what did he say? A country, if you can keep it. That is the question. Can we keep it? If you look at where we're at today, you might say, I am not so sure. I am Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. I'll be back in the morning. We'll sit down and talk about a whole lot of new issues. Again, I want to say congratulations to Jeannie Brock, Barbara Turnberg, and Christy Wright. They were the winners of our Dairy Queen giveaway on Saturday. That was a lot of fun. Working on some other projects here that'll give you the opportunity to win and win big. So that's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio. So drop the curtain, Ann. You can go back and watch this at your leisure. They're always on Facebook, and then usually in about a day, they end up on the website, WCRS1450am.net. Make sure, make sure you go back and watch them if you've missed them. If there's parts of it, there's lots of good information, so I've been told, in my podcast right here on Facebook Live. That is going to do it for me. Take it away. Bye-bye, everybody.